Let me get your thoughts on the Voice debate, because you've been active in this public debate, George. You've said that the Liberal opposition to the Voice is premature. Why?
Well, it's premature because I actually think it's disrespectful to the parliamentary process. The government has announced its wording. We know that members of the Liberal Party have a problem with that. And the right way of dealing with that is to raise it in Parliament. Of course, we now have this parliamentary inquiry, which is a good forum for raising those issues. There's the possibility for Liberal members to move amendments on the floor of Parliament to say, we think this needs to be changed because we think it's got a problem. That's how our democracy works. So frankly, I was really surprised to see they would come out so early. They've actually giving up their ability to influence the outcome, maybe even drive it to a better model, if that's what they'd like to do. But also what they've done is given up the possibility of, I think, taking the higher moral ground by, for example, moving an amendment, the government refusing to take that amendment. They can't say they've even tried to get to that point, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think it's a very good point. Another point you've made in your columns is that the Liberal Party has really turned its back on its tradition in this area because it has a proud history. Of course, it was a Liberal government that took the 1967 referendum to the people. There was no case then. All parties supported it. It's been an observation of mine that if we cast our mind back to 1967 and think that the most important outcome of that referendum was giving the federal government power to make laws for Indigenous people, it would have been uncontroversial if we'd said at the time they should actually take advice from Indigenous people before they make those laws.
I think that's right. And when we talk about the party that has the record of achieving constitutional change for Indigenous peoples, it is the coalition. It's the Liberal and National parties. They did that in 67 with that 90% vote, the most successful in our history. But what we know is it has left unfinished business. That referendum, for all its success, still hasn't put in place any recognition of our First Peoples and the Constitution. It doesn't provide them the ability to influence the use of that power in, I think, a modest way. And it's why the Voice actually has been driven for so many years, actually not by the progressive side of politics, but by some very conservative politicians who have seen it as a really modest addition to our Constitution to give that community a say in a way that's quite consistent with the spirit of 67.
Professor George Williams, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.